The starship Horizon plummeted through the atmosphere of Solora, leaving a fiery trail in its wake. Inside the cockpit, Captain Aria Voss gripped the controls, her knuckles white with effort. "Brace for impact," she shouted to her crew. The ship's navigator, Dr. Talon Reed, and their xenobiologist, Dr. Mira Santos, strapped themselves in tightly. With a deafening crash, the Horizon slammed into the planet's surface, skidding across purple grasslands before coming to rest at the edge of a shimmering forest. Silence fell, broken only by the hiss of escaping gases and the crackle of electrical fires. Aria shook her head, clearing the fog from her mind. "Status report," she croaked. Talon's fingers danced across his console. Main engines offline, life support at 60%, hull integrity compromised but holding. Mira unbuckled herself, wincing at a gash on her forehead. "We're lucky to be alive, Captain." Aria nodded grimly. "Let's hope our luck holds. We need to assess the damage and find a way to contact Earth." As the trio emerged from the battered ship, they froze in awe at the alien landscape before them. The sky shimmered with two suns, one blue, one orange, casting an ethereal glow over the surroundings. The air was thick with a sweet, unfamiliar scent. "It's beautiful," Mira breathed, her scientific curiosity overtaking her fear. A rustle in the nearby foliage caught their attention. Ilara's hand instinctively went to her sidearm as a figure emerged from the tree line. The alien stood nearly 7 feet tall, its body covered in iridescent scales that shifted color with each movement. 4 arms extended from its torso, ending in delicate, 6-fingered hands. But it was the creature's eyes that captivated the humans, large, luminous orbs that seemed to hold galaxies within them. Behind the alien, a smaller version peeked out, clearly a child of the same species. The adult alien raised its upper set of hands in what the humans hoped was a universal gesture of peace. It spoke, its voice a melodic trill that seemed to resonate in the air around them. Mira stepped forward, her translator device in hand. After a moment, words formed. "I am Zora. This is my child, Lyra. Are you hurt? Do you need assistance?" Aria lowered her weapon slowly. "I'm Captain Aria Voss of the Earth ship Horizon. We've crashed and need repairs. Can you help us?" Zora's eyes seemed to shimmer with empathy. "Of course. Our village is not far. We can offer shelter and aid." As they followed Zora and Lyra through the forest, Talon whispered to Aria, "Captain, are you sure this is wise? We know nothing about these aliens." Ilara's jaw set with determination. "We don't have much choice, Talon. Our ship is crippled, and we're on an unknown world. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith." Mira, meanwhile, was peppering Zora with questions about Salaran biology and culture. The alien answered patiently, seeming to enjoy the xenobiologist's enthusiasm. As they walked, Lyra kept glancing back at the humans with undisguised curiosity. Eventually, the child worked up the courage to approach Aria. "Your skin," Lyra said through the translator, "it doesn't change color like ours. Why?" Aria smiled, touched by the child's innocence. "That's just how humans are. We can't change our skin color." Lyra's eyes widened. "That's so interesting. Can I touch it?" After a nod from Zora, Aria held out her hand. Lyra's scales shimmered with excitement as the child gently touched Aria's skin. "It's warm," Lyra exclaimed, "and soft." The moment of connection was interrupted as they crested a hill, revealing a breathtaking vista. Ixalaran village sprawled before them, its buildings seeming to grow organically from the landscape. Structures of living crystal and bioluminescent plants merged seamlessly with the natural environment. "Welcome," Zara said, her voice filled with pride, "to Lumina, our home." As they descended towards the village, Aria felt a mix of hope and trepidation. They had found shelter and potential allies, but they were still stranded on an alien world with a damaged ship. The real challenge was just beginning. Little did they know that their arrival on Solora would set in motion a chain of events that would change both their worlds forever. The crash of the Horizon was not just an accident, it was the spark that would ignite an interstellar adventure, forging unlikely friendships and testing the limits of human ingenuity and alien compassion. As the suns began to set, casting the village in a surreal twilight, Alara, Talon, and Mira exchanged glances. Whatever came next, they would face it together, with their new Zalaran allies by their side. As the humans entered Lumina, the Zalaran village, they were met with a mixture of curiosity and caution from its inhabitants. The village's scales shimmered in a kaleidoscope of colors, reflecting their varied emotions at the sight of the newcomers. Zara led them to a large, crystalline structure at the center of the village. "This is our community hall," she explained. "You can rest here while we gather supplies to help repair your ship." Inside, the walls pulsed with a soft, bioluminescent glow. Mira couldn't contain her excitement, her eyes darting from one alien marvel to another. "This is incredible. The integration of biological and technological systems is far beyond anything we've achieved on Earth." Talon, ever the pragmatist, was more concerned with their immediate situation. "Captain, how long do you think repairs will take? We need to contact Earth and let them know we're alive." Alara sighed, running a hand through her short, dark hair. "I'm not sure, Talon. We'll need to assess the damage fully. For now, let's focus on building trust with the Zalarans. They're our best hope for getting off this planet." As night fell, the village came alive with bioluminescent light. Zara and Lyra returned, accompanied by other Zalarans carrying various tools and materials. "These should help with your repairs," Zara said. "Our technology may be different from yours, but perhaps we can find a way to make them compatible." Alara nodded gratefully. "Thank you, Zara. Your kindness is overwhelming. Is there anything we can offer in return?" Zara's eyes seemed to twinkle. "Your knowledge, your stories. We Zalarans value learning above all else. Tell us about your world, your people." And so began an exchange of cultures. As the humans worked on repairing their ship over the next few days, they shared tales of Earth with the fascinated Zalarans. In return, they learned about Zalaran history, science, and way of life. Mira was in her element, spending hours with Zalaran scientists, comparing notes on biology and ecology. Talon, initially wary, found himself impressed by Zalaran mathematics and astronomy. Alara, meanwhile, formed a bond with Zara and Lyra. One evening, as they sat watching Solora's twin moons rise, Zara spoke of her late partner. "Nix was a great explorer," she said, her voice tinged with both pride and sorrow. "He believed in pushing the boundaries of our knowledge. But an expedition to our system's outer reaches, she trailed off, her scales dimming to a mournful blue." Alara placed a comforting hand on Zara's shoulder, marveling at how natural the gesture felt despite their alien physiology. "I'm so sorry, Zara. Losing someone you love is never easy." Lyra, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "Will you tell us about your family, Captain Alara?" Alara smiled sadly. "I don't have a family, Lyra. My life has been dedicated to exploration, much like your father." "But aren't you lonely?" Lyra asked, her young mind struggling to understand. Before Alara could answer, a commotion from the ship caught their attention. Talon was running towards them, his face a mix of excitement and concern. "Captain," he called, "we've managed to get the long-range scanners working. You need to see this." At the ship, Talon pulled up a holographic display. "We're picking up some kind of anomaly at the edge of the Zalaran system. It's massive, and it's moving this way." Mira, who had joined them, studied the readouts. "These energy signatures, I've never seen anything like it. Whatever it is, it's not natural." Alara turned to Zara, whose scales had paled to a worried grey. "Zara, has anything like this happened before?" Zara shook her head. "Never in our recorded history, but there are legends, stories of ancient beings who once visited our world." As they stood there, Staring at the ominous readings, Elara felt a weight settle on her shoulders. They had come to Salora as accidental visitors, but now they found themselves facing an unknown threat alongside their new allies. "All right," Elara said, her voice firm with resolve. "We need to pool our knowledge and resources. Whatever this anomaly is, we'll face it together." As the news spread through Lumina, the village buzzed with a mixture of fear and determination. Humans and Zalarans alike worked tirelessly, combining their technologies and expertise to prepare for the approaching unknown. Lyra, watching the adults work, tugged on Elara's sleeve. "Are you scared, Captain?" Elara knelt down to meet the child's gaze. "A little," she admitted. "But being brave isn't about not feeling fear. It's about doing what's right even when you are afraid." Lyra nodded sullenly, then surprised Elara with a hug. The captain found herself returning the embrace, realizing that in just a few short days she had come to care deeply for this alien child and her people. As the twin suns set on another day, casting long shadows across Luna, Elara knew that their greatest challenge lay ahead. But looking around at the united efforts of humans and Zalarans, she felt a surge of hope. Together, they would face whatever the cosmos had in store for them. The crash landing that had seemed like a disaster now felt like destiny. Two species, brought together by chance, now stood as one against the approaching storm. Whatever happened next would shape not just the future of Salora, but potentially that of Earth and the entire galaxy. As days passed, the anomaly grew closer, its presence casting a shadow of unease over Lumina. The combined efforts of the human crew and Zalaran scientists had yielded some progress in understanding the phenomenon, but many questions remained unanswered. Elara stood before a gathered crowd of humans and Zalarans, her face set with determination. "Our latest scans have revealed more about the approaching entity," she began, her voice carrying across the anxious assembly. "It appears to be a massive construct, possibly a ship or a space station of unknown origin." Mira stepped forward, activating a holographic display. The image showed a colossal structure, its surface covered in intricate patterns that pulsed with an eerie light. "The energy readings are off the charts," she explained. "Whatever this thing is, it's incredibly advanced." Zara, her scales a mix of worried gray and curious purple, spoke up. "Could it be related to the ancient beings from our legends?" Talon nodded, his expression grim. "It's possible. The technology is far beyond anything we've encountered before, but whether they're returning or this is something entirely new, we can't say for certain." A murmur of concern rippled through the crowd. Elara raised her hand for silence. "I know this is frightening," she said, her voice steady and reassuring. "But we have two choices. We can give in to fear, or we can stand together and face this challenge head-on. I vote for the latter." Her words seemed to bolster the spirits of both humans and Zalarans. Voices of agreement rose from the assembly. As the meeting dispersed, Lyra approached Elara, her young face set with determination. "I want to help," she declared. "What can I do?" Elara knelt down, placing a gentle hand on Lyra's shoulder. "Your bravery is admirable, Lyra. The best way you can help is by assisting the scientists with their research. Your knowledge of Zalaran history and legends could be crucial." Lyra's scales brightened with pride, and she hurried off to join Mira and the Zalaran researchers. Over the next few days, Lumina transformed into a hive of activity. Zalaran crystal technology was integrated with human computer systems, creating a powerful hybrid network to analyze the approaching anomaly. Elara marveled at how seamlessly the two species worked together, their differences becoming strengths rather than obstacles. One evening, as Elara was poring over the latest data, Zara joined her. "You've given us hope," the Zalaran said softly. "Before you arrived, we were stagnant, content with our lives, but not pushing forward. Now, we're reaching for the stars again." Elara smiled, touched by Zara's words. "You've given us just as much, Zara. Your people's kindness, your technology. Without you, we'd be stranded and helpless." Their moment of connection was interrupted by an urgent call from Talon. "Captain, we're picking up a transmission from the anomaly." Ilara and Zara rushed to the command center they'd set up in the village square. A crowd quickly gathered as Talon worked to decode the signal. Suddenly, a voice filled the air, unlike anything they'd ever heard. It was both mechanical and organic, a symphony of tones that seemed to resonate on a cellular level. Mira's translator worked overtime, struggling to decipher the alien language. Finally, words began to form. "Inheritors of Salora, your time of testing has come. We are the architects, shapers of worlds and guardians of cosmic balance. Your civilization stands at a crossroads. Prove your worth or face extinction." A stunned silence fell over the assembly. Ilara's mind raced, processing the implications of the message. These architects clearly held immense power, and they had set their sights on Salora. Zara's scales had paled to an ashen grey. "The legends spoke of beings who tested emerging civilizations," she whispered, "but we always thought they were just stories." Ilara straightened her back, her jaw set with determination. "Well, stories or not, they're here now, and we're not going to let them destroy this world without a fight." She turned to address the crowd, her voice ringing with conviction. "Listen to me, all of you, humans and Zalarans alike. We may not have asked for this test, but we're going to face it together. Our two species have already achieved so much in the short time we've known each other. Imagine what we can do if we truly unite." The assembled beings looked at each other, fear giving way to resolve. Nods of agreement rippled through the crowd. "We need to pool all our knowledge," Ilara continued. "Salaran legends, Earth's scientific theories, everything we've learned about this anomaly. There has to be a way to prove our worth to these architects." As the group dispersed to begin their preparations, Laura tugged on Ilara's sleeve. "Captain," she said, her young voice filled with a wisdom beyond her years, "maybe the test isn't about technology or power. Maybe it's about how we treat each other, how we come together in the face of danger." Ilara blinked, struck by the profundity of the child's insight. "You might be onto something there, Lyra," she said, a small smile breaking through her serious expression. As night fell on Lumina, the twin moons of Salora cast an ethereal glow over the village. Humans and Zalarans worked side by side, their differences forgotten in the face of a common threat. The looming presence of the architect's vessel served as a constant reminder of the challenge ahead, but it also sparked a fire of determination in every heart. Ilara gazed up at the star-filled sky, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She had come to Salora as an explorer, but now found herself a defender of two worlds. Whatever trials the architects had in store, she knew that the united strength of humans and Zalarans would be their greatest asset. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Ilara made a silent vow. They would face this test, they would prove their worth, and they would show the architects the true power of cooperation and compassion. The fate of Salora, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The following days in Lumina were a whirlwind of activity. Humans and Zalarans worked tirelessly, combining their knowledge and technologies in ways never before imagined. The village had become a living laboratory, a crucible of innovation born from the pressure of impending doom. Ilara stood at the center of it all, coordinating efforts and keeping spirits high. She marveled at the ingenuity that necessity had sparked in both species. Talon had managed to boost their communication systems using Zalaran crystals, allowing them to maintain constant contact with the approaching architect's vessel. Mira and a team of Salaran biologists were exploring ways to enhance their defenses using the planet's unique flora. As Ilara made her rounds, she found Zara and Lyra huddled over ancient Salaran texts. "We think we found something," Zara said, her scales shimmering with excitement. "These texts speak of trials faced by our ancestors. They're not just stories, they're records of previous tests by the architects." Lyra pointed to a series of intricate glyphs. "Look, Captain, these symbols match the patterns we saw on the architect's ship." Ilara felt a surge of hope. This could be the key we've been looking for. Great work, both of you. As they pored over the ancient records, a pattern began to emerge. The architect's tests weren't about military might or technological superiority. They were trials of cooperation, empathy, and the ability to transcend differences for the greater good. It all makes sense now, Ilara breathed. They're not looking for the strongest civilization, but the most adaptable and compassionate one. Zora's scales rippled with understanding, and by bringing our two species together, we've already begun to prove our worth. Their revelation was interrupted by Talon's urgent voice over the comm system. Captain, we're receiving another transmission from the architects. They're asking for representatives to board their vessel. Ilara's heart raced. This was it, their chance to face the architects directly. Assemble the team, she ordered. We're going up there. As preparations were made for the mission, Ilara found herself facing a difficult decision. Who should make up the delegation? She knew she would go, but who else? In the end, the choice was clear. Zora stepped forward, her scales a determined blue. I will represent Solora, she said firmly. Ilara nodded, then turned to her crew. Mira, I need your scientific expertise. Talon, your tactical skills could be crucial. As they prepared to depart, Lyra approached, her young face set with worry. You'll come back, won't you? She asked, her voice small. Ilara knelt down, meeting the child's gaze. We'll do everything in our power to return, Lyra, and when we do, we'll have secured a future for both our peoples. The journey to the architect's vessel was tense. As the small craft approached the massive structure, Ilara was struck by its sheer scale and complexity. It seemed to defy the laws of physics, its surface shifting and changing before their eyes. A beam of energy enveloped their ship, guiding them to a docking bay. As they stepped out, they found themselves in an environment that challenged their very perception of reality. The interior of the vessel seemed to be alive, pulsing with energy and thought. A figure materialized before them, its form constantly shifting between various alien shapes. When it spoke, its voice resonated not just in their ears, but in their minds. Welcome, children of Earth and Solora, the being said. We are the architects, shapers of cosmic destiny. You stand at a crossroads of history. The trial begins now. Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. We are ready to face your challenge, architects. But first, tell us, why? Why test us like this? The being's form shimmered, taking on an approximation of a humanoid shape. Balance must be maintained, it explained. Power without wisdom leads to destruction. We seek those worthy of joining the galactic community. Zora spoke up, her scales glowing with a mix of awe and determination. We may be young races, but we have much to offer. Our differences have become our strength. The architect seemed to consider this. Show us, it said simply. What followed was a series of trials that tested not just their intelligence and problem-solving skills, but their empathy, creativity, and ability to work together. Ilara and her team faced simulations of cosmic disasters, diplomatic crises, and moral dilemmas that pushed them to their limits. Throughout it all, they relied on each other. Mira's scientific insight, Talon's strategic thinking, Zora's wisdom and cultural knowledge, all of it came into play. And at the center was Ilara, guiding them, inspiring them to push beyond what they thought possible. As they completed the final trial, exhausted but triumphant, the architect reappeared. Its form had stabilized, now a brilliant being of pure energy. You have surprised us, it said, its voice filled with something akin to warmth. In all our years of testing, we have never seen two species work together so seamlessly, especially ones who have known each other for such a short time. Ilara stood tall, flanked by her human and Salaran companions. This is who we are, she said proudly. Not perfect, not all-powerful, but always striving to be better, to understand each other, to face challenges together. The architect's form pulsed with approval. You have proven yourselves worthy. The threat of extinction is lifted. But this is not an end, it is a beginning. You now stand on the threshold of a larger universe. As they prepared to return to Salora, carrying news of their success, Ilara felt a profound sense of change. They had come to this world as castaways and were leaving it as part of something greater. The crash of the Horizon hadn't been an accident. It had been the first step on a journey that would reshape the future of two species and beyond. As their ship descended towards Lumina, where an anxious crowd awaited them, Ilara knew that the real work was just beginning. They had a future to build, together. As Ilara and her team descended back to Xalora, the twin suns were just beginning to rise, casting a hopeful glow over Lumina. The village erupted in cheers as their ship touched down, with Lyra leading the charge, her scales a brilliant tapestry of joyous colors. "You did it, you really did it," Lyra exclaimed, throwing her arms around Ilara and Zara. Ilara smiled, her exhaustion momentarily forgotten in the face of such unbridled joy. "We all did it," she corrected gently. "Every single person here played a part in our success." As the initial excitement settled, Ilara addressed the gathered crowd. "The architects have deemed us worthy," she announced, her voice carrying across the hushed assembly. "But our journey is far from over. We've been given an opportunity and a responsibility to join a larger galactic community." Zara stepped forward, her scales shimmering with a mix of excitement and determination. "This is a new chapter for Xalora and for Earth. We must prepare ourselves for what lies ahead." The next few weeks were a flurry of activity. The humans worked tirelessly to repair the Horizon, integrating Xalaran technology to enhance its capabilities. Meanwhile, Xalaran scientists and engineers collaborated with the human crew to develop new systems for interstellar communication and travel. Ilara found herself at the center of it all, coordinating efforts between the two species and planning for the future. Late one night, as she pored over star charts and diplomatic protocols, Zara joined her. "You should rest," Zara said softly, her concern evident in the gentle pulsing of her scales. Ilara sighed, rubbing her tired eyes. "There's so much to do. We need to establish contact with Earth, prepare Xalora for potential visitors, set up protocols for—" "And we will do all of that," Zara interrupted gently. "But not at the cost of burning ourselves out. We've been given a gift, Ilara. We should take a moment to appreciate it." Ilara nodded, allowing herself to be led outside. The night air was cool and sweet, filled with the soft bioluminescence of Xalaran flora. As they walked, Lyra joined them, her young face alight with curiosity. "Tell me about the stars again," Lyra requested, her eyes wide with wonder as she gazed up at the unfamiliar constellations. As Ilara began to describe the various star systems they might soon visit, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. This was what it was all about, not just survival, but discovery, wonder, and the sharing of knowledge across species. The next morning brought a new challenge. The long-range communications array they had been developing was finally ready for its first test. If successful, they would be able to send a message to Earth, breaking months of silence. Talon manned the controls, his face a mask of concentration. "Commencing transmission now," he announced. For several tense moments, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the system crackled to life. "This is Earth's Central Command," a voice came through, tinged with disbelief. "Horizon, is that you?" A cheer went up from the assembled humans and Xalarans alike. Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady despite the emotion threatening to overwhelm her. "Earth Central, this is Captain Aria Voss of the Horizon. We are alive and well on a planet called Xalora, and we have one hell of a story to tell you." Over the next few hours, Ilara briefed Earth on their situation, the crash, their alliance with its Xalarans, the test by the architects, and their new status in the galactic community. The response was a mix of relief, excitement, and understandable caution. "This changes everything," the Earth representative said. "We'll need to prepare a diplomatic mission to Xalora immediately." As the implications of their new reality began to sink in, Ilara realized that their greatest challenge was yet to come. They weren't just explorers anymore, they were ambassadors, bridge builders between two worlds and beyond. Mira approached Ilara, her eyes shining with excitement. "Captain, the Salaran scientists and I have been working on something. We think we found a way to create a stable wormhole using a combination of Salaran crystal technology and principles from Earth's quantum physics." Ilara's eyes widened. A wormhole. That could revolutionize interstellar travel. Zara joined them, her scales pulsing with a mix of excitement and concern. "It's incredible technology, but it comes with great responsibility. We must ensure it's used wisely." Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of their discoveries. "You're right. We need to establish some sort of interstellar council with representatives from Earth, Solora, and eventually other worlds we encounter." As they discussed the possibilities and challenges ahead, Lara listened intently, her young mind ablaze with ideas. "What if," she said suddenly, "we use the wormhole technology to create a grand library, a place where all species can share their knowledge and culture?" The adults paused, struck by the simplicity and brilliance of the idea. Ilara smiled, ruffling Lyra's head tendrils affectionately. "That's a wonderful idea, Lyra. A testament to the power of curiosity and shared learning." As the twin suns set on another day on Solora, Ilara stood with her human crew and their Salaran friends, gazing up at the stars. The universe no longer seemed vast and empty, but full of possibility and wonder. "We came here as accidental explorers," Ilara said softly, "but we're leaving as intentional ambassadors. Whatever challenges lie ahead, we'll face them together, humans and Zalarans, united in our quest for knowledge and understanding." As night fell, the bioluminescent plants of Lumina began to glow, mirroring the stars above. It was a reminder that beauty and wonder could be found both in the farthest reaches of space and in the world right beneath their feet. The mission that had begun with a crash landing was now expanding beyond their wildest dreams, promising a future of unity, discovery, and endless possibilities. The months that followed were a whirlwind of activity and change. As promised, Earth sent a diplomatic mission to Solora, their ship emerging from the newly created wormhole with a mix of trepidation and excitement. Ilara, Zara, and their teams worked tirelessly to ensure a smooth first contact between the official Earth delegation and the broader Xalaran population. The day of the Earth ship's arrival dawned bright and clear. Lumina was abuzz with anticipation, its streets lined with curious Salarans eager to catch a glimpse of more humans. As the sleek Earth vessel touched down on the outskirts of the village, Ilara felt a surge of pride and nostalgia. "Ready for this?" she asked Zara, who stood beside her, scales shimmering with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Zara nodded, her four hands clasped together. "As ready as we'll ever be." As the ship's ramp lowered, revealing a diverse group of Earth diplomats, scientists, and military personnel, Lyra tugged on Ilara's sleeve. "They look just like you," she exclaimed, her young voice filled with wonder. Ilara chuckled, ruffling Lyra's head tendrils affectionately. "Not quite, little one. Humans come in all shapes, sizes, and colors." The next few weeks were a blur of meetings, cultural exchanges, and technological demonstrations. Earth was eager to learn about Salaran crystal technology and bioengineering, while the Salarans were fascinated by Earth's diverse ecosystems and varied cultures. Throughout it all, Ilara found herself acting as a bridge between the two worlds. Her unique position as both an Earth captain and a friend to the Xalarans made her an invaluable mediator. But as the negotiations progressed, she began to feel a growing sense of unease. One evening, as she sat with Zara and Lyra in their home, watching the twin moons rise, Ilara finally voiced her concerns. "I'm worried," she admitted. "Earth is pushing hard for access to Xalaran technology. I fear they might be moving too fast, without fully understanding the responsibilities that come with it." Zara nodded, her scales dimming to a thoughtful blue. I share your concerns. My people are excited about the possibilities of this alliance, but some are afraid we might lose our way of life. Lyra, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. Why can't we just be friends? Share what we know, learn from each other, but still be ourselves. Ilara and Zara exchanged a look, struck by the wisdom in the child's words. You know, Ilara said slowly, Lyra might be onto something. We need to find a balance, a way to share and grow together, without losing what makes each of our cultures unique. Inspired by this idea, Ilara called a meeting with both the Earth delegation and Salaran leaders. She proposed a gradual approach to sharing technology and knowledge, coupled with extensive cultural exchange programs. We have an opportunity here, she explained, her voice passionate. Not just to advance technologically, but to grow as species, to learn from each other's strengths and support each other's weaknesses. The proposal was met with cautious approval from both sides. Over the next few months, a framework for cooperation was established. Scientists from Earth and Zalora began working together on joint projects, while artists and philosophers from both worlds engaged in deep cultural exchanges. As the alliance between Earth and Zalora solidified, Ilara found herself at a crossroads. Earth had offered her a promotion, a prestigious position overseeing the new interstellar exploration initiative. It was everything she had ever dreamed of as a young cadet. Yet, as she stood on the cliffs overlooking the shimmering Zalaran Sea, Ilara felt a pull to this world that she couldn't ignore. She thought of Zara's quiet strength, of Lyra's boundless curiosity, of the sense of belonging she had found among the Zalarans. I was wondering if I find you here. Zara's voice came from behind her. Ilara turned to see her friend approaching, Lyra in tow. Just thinking, Ilara replied with a small smile. Lyra looked up at her, eyes wide. Are you going to leave us? She asked, her voice small. Ilara knelt down, meeting the child's gaze. I've been offered a job back on Earth, she explained gently. A very important one. But you can't go, Lyra exclaimed, her scales flashing distressed colors. Your family now. The word family struck Ilara like a physical blow. She looked up at Zara, seeing the same emotion reflected in her friend's eyes. Lyra's right, Zara said softly. You've become more than just an ally to us, Ilara. You're part of our family now. But we understand if your duty calls you back to Earth. In that moment, Ilara realized that her decision had already been made. The crash landing that had seemed like a disaster had led her to something she had always longed for, but never truly had: a family, a home. I'm staying, she said, her voice firm with conviction. My place is here, helping to build this bridge between our worlds. If Earth will have me, I'll act as their ambassador on Zalora. The joy that spread across Zara and Lyra's faces was all the confirmation Ilara needed that she had made the right choice. As Lyra threw her arms around Ilara in a tight hug, Zara placed a hand on Ilara's shoulder, her scales glowing with warm, welcoming colors. In the days that followed, arrangements were made. Earth, recognizing the value of having Ilara on Zalora, agreed to her new role as ambassador. The Horizon, once a ship of exploration, was recommissioned as a symbol of the Earth-Zalora alliance, a testament to the unexpected journey that had brought two worlds together. As Ilara stood with her new family, watching the Earth delegation depart through the wormhole, she felt a profound sense of peace. The universe was vast and full of wonders, but she had found her place in it. What happens now? Lyra asked, her young voice filled with excitement for the future. Ilara smiled, looking out at the horizon where the twin suns were setting in a blaze of color. Now, little one, we keep exploring, keep learning, and keep growing together. As night fell on Zalora, the bioluminescent life of the planet began to glow, mirroring the stars above. Ilara, Zara, and Lyra walked hand in hand back to their home, a family forged in the crucible of cosmic chance and human determination. The adventure that had begun with a crash landing had transformed into something far greater, a new chapter in the story of two worlds, and a testament to the power of compassion, curiosity, and connection across the stars.